Welcome to HPC News Bytes, a weekly show about important news in the world of supercomputing, AI, quantum computing, and other advanced technologies.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to HPC News Bytes. I'm Doug Black, and with me, of course, is Shaheen Khan. There's a rising tide of GPUs on the AI processing market, many of them from some of the richest companies in the world, but the degree to which they pose a threat to NVIDIA's GPU market dominance is very much in question. There was news last week that Meta plans to have its new AI chip in production in the September timeframe, according to a Reuters story. The report is based on an internal Meta memo. The new chip is called Iris, announced 4 months ago, and it's the first in a series of Meta training and inference accelerator processors to be rolled out over the next year and a half, and they will target generative AI inferencing workloads. Meta's Iris chip is one piece of a larger move of Meta and other hyperscalers toward owning and optimizing more of their own AI infrastructure stack.
That really is the big trend and the big signal here. Broad brush, if you have enough volume, you can build your own chips and systems. Hyperscalers can build their own chips and systems and software, and they increasingly do, while continuing to buy from merchant vendors what they must. And chip vendors, likewise, are becoming system and rack scale vendors and invest in cloud providers who are strongly aligned with them. Meta is working with Broadcom on custom silicon and TSMC on fabrication and packaging, while continuing to buy heavily from NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel for merchant compute. The supporting supply chain is just as important. Samsung, SK Hynix, Micron, and SanDisk for memory and storage, Sumitomo Electric for optical interconnect components, WeWin, Quanta, and Foxconn for servers, motherboards, and racks. The layers point to another market signal here. Hyperscalers building their own hardware and the growing complexity of high-end chips are coming together to change the supply chain for chips. Broadcom, Marvell, and increasingly MediaTek are moving up the stack from implementation partners towards full-service custom chip prime contractors. Hyperscalers increasingly specify the workloads, economics, and system requirements, while specialist partners take on more of the architecture, design, packaging, and production. That could become a major new layer in AI infrastructure.
The Oak Ridge Leadership Computing Facility announced last week that they're deploying a 20-qubit system from IQM Quantum Computer. Oak Ridge said the IQM Radiance system, which is named Pathfinder, will play a key role in the lab's efforts to integrate quantum computing technology with their classical HPC resources. IQM was founded in 2018 and is based in Finland. Their Radiance system is based on superconducting technology, which means its qubits must be cooled to nearly absolute zero.
The Oak Ridge installation reinforces a broader shift already underway in the US. Quantum computing is moving from experiment and engineering into procurement and operations. The 20-qubit system from IQM is modest. They have bigger systems that they sell too. But the strategic value is in integrating quantum hardware with HPC workflows, schedulers, and applications while developing in-house expertise. The larger market signal is also important. We can now identify more than 30 quantum computing vendors across 8 hardware modalities that have collectively built or deployed well over 100 systems, including internal research platforms, prototypes, cloud systems, and customer-installed machines. IQM, for its part, has said that it has sold 23 systems and installed 15.
HPC luminary Satoshi Matsuoka of Japan's Riken Center for Computational Science has issued 3 papers of late that, given his stature in the supercomputing industry and the content of his articles, has stirred the pot in the HPC community. Matsuoka, of course, is a leader in Japanese supercomputing system strategy and design, including the country's upcoming Fugaku Next leadership system, scheduled for 2029 or 2030. His 3 papers, all available on the archive site, take on the topics of floating point 64 processing as the HPC Holy Grail. Another argues that FP8 is all you need. And the third looks at the scarcity of memory chips at OpenAI models and at the restructuring of the AI industry through the rest of the decade.
We need to cover these topics in more detail, but I will share my high-level take from these papers. On numerical precision, if we assume that most scientific computation can be formulated as matrix and tensor algebra, a reasonable assumption, then algorithmic emulation can do the job faster. And if the fraction of computation that is not matrix algebra is small enough, then it can be done in slower ways and you still come out ahead. On the memory issues, I see the paper making the following salient points. A trend towards memory bandwidth versus compute. Memory bandwidth is what people are in fact buying, the paper says. Older infrastructure can continue to work well and could dampen the need to upgrade, and especially in situations where the infrastructure that runs a service is not visible to the customer. AI inference costs will trend towards commodity because of open models. For economic growth, token demand must continue to outstrip new efficiencies. Inference will expand to the edge. AI for science and HPC provide a steady demand floor for capacity, and China can compete. As usual, these are high-quality food for thought.
The Wall Street Journal ran a contributed piece from Jim Vandehei, a co-founder of the Axios News platform, in which he contends that the U.S. is at risk of blowing the AI race. His article proposes 7 ideas to get America back on track. The article reflects the growing significance on the world stage of AI and its encroachment beyond tech markets into areas of national policy and geopolitics. Vandehei contends that, quote, America faces one of those rare historic moments when government, business, schools, and families could be working together to meet a truly generational challenge, winning the AI race. So far, we're blowing it, he says. At the core of his argument is that the awesome technological advances of world-leading American engineers at Anthropic, OpenAI, and elsewhere could be zipping the country further ahead of China. Instead, it's locked in a panicked and confused paralysis across government, business, campuses, and the workforce. China, meanwhile, has a state-directed, countrywide plan to put AI into action and lock down the supply chain for future dominance. This threat is present, real, and intensifying. Shaheen, very interested to hear your take on the article.
Right. Well, I'll be the contrarian, as I sometimes have to be. The article's claim that America is, quote, blowing the AI race is, well, shall we say, unsupported. The US leads in spending, advanced AI models, much of the stack from chips to apps, and commercialization. If there are any constraints, they are due to massive adoption and investment that is causing shortages. That does not mean there are no constraints worth addressing. The most credible ones are 1, power and grid expansion, 2, attracting more top-tier math and science talent, and 3, continued focus on advanced chip manufacturing in the US. Even the chip risk is mitigated by Intel's rapidly advancing domestic capability and capacity, and other providers of high-end capacity, Taiwan, South Korea, and soon Japan, are US allies. So while you can always do better, and should, and other countries can make advances, I just don't see anyone being particularly close to the US in AI at all. All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you all for being with us.
HPC News Bytes is a production of Orion X. Shaheen Khan and Doug Black host the show. Every episode is posted on orionx.net. If you like the show, please rate and review it. Thank you for listening.